why are we fearing calories? I think that the calories idea is kind of a psyop. I wouldn't be surprised if there has been some big food, quote, funding behind this calories idea to confuse people, because this idea that you can just limit your calories without improving food quality is insidious. This is where Weight Watchers comes from, and I'm eating based on points or something, and it's the idea, which I think this is this age-old kind of silly debate that we go round and round with people about online in nutrition circles about calories in, calories out. And you think, of course, yes, if you eat Twinkies in a calorie deficit, you will lose weight. Is that the best way to lose weight?
Not necessarily. I would like to think that was true, but it's not always true.
Well, there will be adaptive thermogenesis, and eventually you'll stop
unless
losing
your
weight.
thyroid's at zero.
Yeah.
Unless you have zeronol in your food. Do you know about that?
Oh, yes. This mold toxin that creates...
Well, they sell the mold toxin to cow breeders so that the cows get fat on 30% less calories.
Yes.
So for me, I actually lived in a house that had zeronol. I didn't know it. 10,000 times more estrogenic. So I'm like, I was starving all the time and I'm working out 90 minutes a day. My thyroid is almost undetectable. My testosterone is lower than my mom's in lab tests.
Right.
And I can't lose weight on a low-calorie diet, even though, well, it's because of food quality and my environment.
Yeah. It's funny. I did a podcast this morning with Dale Brisby. He's a cowboy here. I think he has that show on Netflix, like How to Be a Cowboy. And we were talking about how to raise cattle, and he was telling me about this. He said, when I'm raising cattle as a cattle rancher, we give them something. He didn't know.
It's a little wax pellet they put in the cow's ear.
He didn't know that it was the zeronol. And I'd heard you talk about it, so I mentioned it to him. And he said, yeah, we give this to them, and we can feed them less feed, and they get fatter. And I thought, okay, Dale, but you understand what's going on there, right? This is actually kind of a beautiful, insidious black mirror of what's happening to humans today. Because I think that there are similar toxins that act in similar ways in our food environment, in our ultra-processed foods, that are breaking our metabolism. And so I've thought that this, when you see a calorie label, it's so misleading. Because say you see Doritos and it says one serving is 200 calories. I think about that as potential energy. That's potential energy, but you have to make that into physical kinetic energy in your body to repair DNA, to make hormones, to do all of these cellular processes. And that transition from potential energy to kinetic energy is not assured, especially if you have a broken metabolism.
Yes.
By all of the toxins in our environment, whether it's seed oils accumulating in your membranes, causing excess oxidation, or the cardiolipin in your mitochondrial cristae to be misfolded, or, all of these mold toxins that are affecting hormones. If the actual, movement of energy from potential energy in food to kinetic energy in your body is impaired, you will simply store more of those calories. So this idea that you can just limit calories and lose weight is completely misguided. It's so false, but it really is convenient for manufacturers of Coca-Cola and Doritos and Frito-Lay who can say, just eat less.
It's funny because if you tell people to eat less calories, they get cravings.
Of course.
And then they buy Doritos. It's so smart. There's another thing I like to share. Every now and then you'll see like a 25-year-old fitness instructor influencer who's saying, well, I just had a Diet Coke to cancel out my Snickers bar and none of this stuff matters. And if you just eat less calories, you'll lose weight. I go, okay, this is great. Uranium has 1 million calories per gram. So if you ate that, you get fat, right? And they go, well, you can't absorb it. I go, oh. So we're asking about absorption now. So you just changed the rules. Okay. And what about zeronol? If you can get fat on 30% less calories, it's probably not the calories, right? And then they just look at me angry, and then maybe they have to read a book or something.
Well, and as you hinted at, if you restrict your calories, you also end up in you're digging yourself in a hole, right? Yeah. It's a race to the bottom. We know we get adaptive thermogenesis as humans. Your thyroid hormones are less powerful, or they are either downregulated at the level of conversion from T4 to T3, or T4 goes to reverse T3, or downregulated at the level of the receptors. And basically your whole body thermostat gets turned down. So when you restrict calories, you can see the research. Calorie restriction fails 70 to 85% of the time for people. They just don't keep the weight off. So why are we even suggesting this to people anymore?
It's voodoo science. I look at telling someone to restrict calories as the same as when a doctor would say, smoke Marlboros, they're the best. It's just not real.
It doesn't work.
Yeah.
And there's no conversation, or there's less of a conversation that I would hope for around food quality, because I think then we have to have the hard conversations. What is quality food? Is meat quality food? You and I believe it is, but then we have to have candid conversations with people who don't believe that. What is quality food? I think most of us understand broadly what quality food is.
I don't.
I would say any food that our grandmother recognized is a step in the right direction.
I would say that, but we live in a bubble of being abundantly healthy. If you go to a stock photo site and you say, show me healthy food, they're going to show you a salad with 40 calories in it and some sort of unhealthy looking person eating it, smiling as if they like the salad, or a little piece of lean chicken. When we see healthy food is what the dieter's plate from 1950 looked like, which was a scoop of full-fat cottage cheese, 2 beef patties, a piece of lettuce, and a piece of tomato. I would argue about the tomato. And maybe you're sensitive to dairy or not, but people ate that to lose weight, and it worked.
Yeah.
And now the dieter's plate is kale and quinoa.